Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to the HR Session 12, or Human Resource Management Perspective in Recognizing Employees' Contributions by Dr. George Mochocki. You're either taking me in an online class at a college, a face-to-face class at a college, or you're taking me in a hybrid class or in one of my workshops that I basically do. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? When I'm looking at HR, human resources is the focal point. The individuals, the personnel, whether you're a single HR individual or you're in a larger organization that has multiple different levels of HR representatives to assist the organization. HR, for lack of better words, are the individuals who are always in tune and making sure that I pay the employees, compensate the employees fairly and equitably. Now, most employees, and how does that work? They're the check and balance for the organization. They're looking at incentive pay. How do I motivate an individual? Not only motivate them, but thank the individual. Remember, a lot of people think pay is also a motivator, but it's also a way for an organization to say, hey, George, you did a great job. And if you skimp on a few, you're making millions off the contribution of your workforce, you should be able to take some of that, or even if it's not millions, if you're a small company not making millions, but some of that profit or some of that income coming back because of what your employees have done, you should be able to share a little of that with your employees. This is what's going to help them motivate more. This is also going to say, hey, this organization respects us. But pay is an issue that you have to be very careful. Incentive pay. Who do I pay? How do I pay the individual? Now, most individuals get paid, they get regular wages, and they also get, certain steps depending on their work effort. Most companies now, most individuals are also working in cross-functional teams, or they're doing something for the organization. So what the organizations are doing, you're going to have a incentive for the individual, and you're going to have an incentive for the group performance. And within that group performance, if the group meets its expectations, the group gets rewarded as a whole. We divide the work or the incentive equally among the group or within the organization. The other thing you have to look at within that group, there's some individuals that may contributed more than the other individuals, and how do I motivate those individuals, since they're working in a group, to bring out their expertise and bring out and have them come up and say, hey, I worked hard, I received a group reward, but because of my extra effort or because of my extra idea as an individual, I also get compensated. So when you look at compensation, you have to look at all variables to make sure that that individual feels that he's rewarded fairly and equitably. All right. And now the different types of pay for organizational performance, balanced scorecard, processes that make incentives work, and incentive pay for executives. When you're looking at executives' pay, executives should be paid or compensated more than the hourly or salary workers, but not to the extreme where the salary and hourly workers are making bare minimum, and the executives are making more than what is considered the benchmark within the industry. Now you're going to have kind of like a distrust for the top management, and your employees will not be as motivated. There should be a higher level of pay for those who have more risk and have more involved at a higher level, but it shouldn't be that big of a gap, that disparity, that the person at the bottom is not making a fair getting compensated fairly. Now this is above and beyond your regular wages. This is incentives, for you as triggers, as motivators, as reward, as an individual or a group achieves a goal or meets an objective that the company feels that's important. Not just to pay out money for no reason at all because I have extra cash. They have to earn it. That helps on the intrinsic inside. Hey, I did a good job. I know I did a good job. My team did a good job. We really did an excellent job, and now I'm being compensated for it fairly within the organization. And when I look at fair compensation, if I'm a billion-dollar organization, I would kind of expect my compensation to be a little bit higher. If I'm only making $75,000 or $80,000, my compensation may not be that much. And some of the compensation for smaller businesses may be like at the end of the year bonus. You get a certain percentage of my profits, if I have any profit. This helps individuals to work harder. I know, like Jewel, for lack of better words, they basically have what they call profit sharing. And so if the company didn't get any profits, there's nothing to share. This keeps the employees not only motivated, it keeps an eye to make sure that the inventory isn't being stolen, make sure that the individual is working hard, satisfying customer needs, because if the customers come in and they're spending more, I'll have a higher profit. If there's a higher profit, we split up the profit. A certain percentage of the profit comes back to the individuals who really made the organization shine and made them successful. So let's have an overview. If you're in any of my paid classes or workshops, you have a conceptual map that I supply to you. This map is used as a reminder after you do my the short lecture or my workshop, so you could go back as triggers. You already been exposed to material either through readings or through some of the materials that I provide to you at the college or in my private workshop. So what do we have? A quick overview. Okay. Connection between incentive pay and employee performance, that's what we're going to be talking about. Recognize individuals' performance, right? You have to recognize them. Otherwise, you're going to say, why am I working? Why am I doing? The company's making well, everyone's doing well, and I'm just, am I a chump? Or right? Identify ways to recognize group performance. Now I'm working with a group. Most people want to be rewarded individual. As a group, it's a little harder, so you have to have a mechanism to make sure everyone in the group is contributing, and those who are contributing more should be compensated a little bit more in that pie that the group gets and also what the individual gets. Linking pay to overall performance, combining incentive plans in a balanced scorecard. When I look at a balanced scorecard, I may have a different incentive for my marketing department than I do for my production. For marketing, I may have expanding to different markets. How do I get a customer coming back? At least aware of my product and everything else. For my production line, I may be looking at quality, delivering the products that's intact, not damaged, on time. My engineering, no errors in engineering. My customer service, one of their incentives will be when the customer calls that I make no errors in the customer's order, even though they get the best product, but it's not the product they ordered, so I'm not going to be happy. I got to return it, I got to wait. And one time people understand there could be an issue. Maybe I didn't hear him right, maybe or heard her right, or maybe I made an error, but it shouldn't be consistent. If it's consistent, I'm going, wait, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm not going to work with that organization. Okay? And then issues to performance based for executive. Executives' pay should be higher than your regular hourly worker or management worker, but there shouldn't be such a large gap that basically the hourly worker may only get out of let's say $1 million incentive that the company has designated for all members of the organization, only get maybe $100, and the manager gets $50,000. That's not fair. What you're going to have disgruntled employees. You have employees that are not going to be motivated, or they're going to be doing just enough to, hey, they're not going to pay me, they don't respect me, they're just going to do just enough, maybe a little bit above, but not excel where I want them to move. There's a lot of competition out there, and if they're not happy with your incentive pay, you may be paying them a fair wages, but that extra bonus is coming pretty handy. I know my brother works at Jewel, and the way they have profit sharing. Now, when Jewel has profit sharing, how does that work? If the company or that department, that store, doesn't make a profit because there's high theft and everything else, you have nothing to share with. So their employees are motivated to keep an eye to make sure the store is clean, treat customers well, make sure there's no orders, no mistakes in the pricing. All this makes the customer come back. As they come back, they spend more in my establishment or my business or buy more of my products. That basically constitutes the higher profit margin. When I get a higher profit margin, they get a certain percentage of that profit margin. Not all of it. Remember, profit, because a lot of organizations will keep some of the profit, retaining it for retained earnings, so they can expand the business. But a fair percentage, so they can say the gap between high executives and The hourly and the management worker is not that large. It makes sense. And how do you know it? You look at what other organizations are paying their executives, their bonuses. You look how other organizations are their incentives or their payouts to groups. The other one you have to look at is pay for performance, types of pay for organizational performance, balanced scorecard. When I'm looking at a balanced scorecard, what I'm basically looking at, if I'm in a marketing department, I have different goals. Everything has to satisfy the customer. My goals may be how do I motivate customers to even come and buy my product. So I may have new customers, new clients are looking, or a marketing campaign that's successful. Engineering may have it so they have no errors. They engineer the product with most cost-effective and cost-efficient, both satisfying the customers and the organizational needs. So they have different goals. Customer service may have a different goal, looking at it saying we are basically here to making sure when a customer calls that there's no errors. We treat the customer fairly. We transfer that customer or answer the customer's questions appropriately so he or she feels satisfied and they come back and utilize our services. So when I'm looking at the balanced scorecard, you don't want to have one department that makes 50% out of the. Remember, when you look at incentives, a lot of organizations, whether it's a certain percentage of profit or it's a certain amount that they put away, that balanced scorecard works well. It's fair for everyone, so they don't say one department gets more than the other. And you're looking at how does it contribute to the ultimate goal of the organization to improve customer satisfaction. What aspect? If I'm only cleaning up, and there's nothing wrong with cleaning up, or someone, let's say, my maintenance department. But if their maintenance department should get some compensation to make sure the production line is working. Another part of maintenance may be just cleaning the office space or cleaning the retail space. If the store is dirty, filthy, customers are going to say, I'm not going to come in here. So, but so it makes sense. They're only doing a smaller amount, so they don't get the same compensation as somebody that has to be on the field 24/7, going talking to customers, everything else. But they're still important to meet the overall company objectives of meeting and satisfying the customers. Let's do a real quick overview. Connection between incentive pay and employee performance. There is a correlation. Research has proven that. There's no doubt. If I do so much work, we've already talked about the equity theory and the reinforcements. The incentive reinforcement, but equity that I'm being treated fairly in all aspects of the organization. Recognize individuals' performance, even whether they're individuals and also within the group. Some individuals in the group perform because of the task more or excel than other individuals. They should be compensated at a group, the group performance goal or reward or incentive a little bit higher than someone who hasn't been. And combining incentive plans in a balanced scorecard, we talked about that. So a little bit about overview, we'll get into that. And summarizing the process of incentive programs and issues to performance based for executives. Remember, if you're in my class, you already have one of these conceptual maps. If not, you could always contact me. I always have an address, either at the college I'm teaching for or into my consulting business in this that I basically operate. Okay, incentive pay. What's incentive pay? Real quick general definitions. Remember, just so you have a general idea, this course is sections that I do this half an hour video is just to give you an overview of what you've already been learning or what will be discussed in our workshops or in our lectures or in our discussions or in our forums. It's forms paid linked to employees' performance as an individual or an organizational member or a group member. That's all incentive pay. It's not your regular pay. It's above and beyond. If I'm working in the restaurant business or a taxi, you may get paid maybe minimum wages. And a lot of or smaller wages, just in case there isn't many customers, so you at least have a base salary that you could always count on. But if you're nice to the customers, you treat customers nicely, you get them the drinks, you respond to them quickly for their requests, they'll give you a bigger tip. And some organizations, the high-end restaurants, their tips are a good. Maybe like 60%, 67% of their overall wages. That is a good incentive because the amount paid is linked to certain predefined behaviors or customers. That's influential. Motivates employees to contribute to organizational successes above and beyond their pay. We learned from Maslow and Herzberg that pay is a hygiene. Once I get paid, I had to be paid fairly. I'm talking about wages, regular wages. Then that's not really a motivator. I become into the same thing. What motivates me is my paycheck. I was an hourly, a salary employee. Nothing changes my paycheck unless my bonuses come in when I do something. So that's an additional. So I can live. I have my basic, take care of my basic needs, and then this is above and beyond. The harder I work, the bigger bonus I get, or a cut at a bigger bonus. Okay. So effective pay plans, performance. You try to make some of your plans has to be tied to an objective result. It's hard to be subjective. Be nice to customers. You can do nice to customers because they have the secret shoppers. For those of you who are in the retail, they'll come in, they'll evaluate. You don't know he or she's a secret shopper, but they'll evaluate you as an individual, and they evaluate you as a store member. Because one individual could mess up the whole store rating because he or she is not motivated, or they're disrespectful to the customer, and and I would never know that because the customer just never comes back. The secret shopper says, "Hey, I came in here, boom, boom, boom. This individual this time acted this way," or they presented a store policy that was not very intuitive or not very customer friendly. Okay, so measures are linked to organizational goals. Employees believe they can meet the performance standard. You don't want to have this carrot in front of them and there's no way they could reach it. They have to have some way to be part of it that they could change the outcome of the goal or help improve the outcome of the goal. Values the reward given and believe that the reward system is fair. We're going to get back into balance. Organization gives employees the resources they need to get their goals. You can't give them some kind of goals and achieve them, and they have to buy their own equipment, or you don't give them the resources to achieve those goals. They're never going to make those goals. You just give them that incentive as a carrot that no one could ever taste. It's like a hologram. It's there, but I can never grab it. It's just always elusive out of my way. After a while, an employee is going to say, heck with this. It's just all talk. It's all for show. I never get anything out of it. And pay plan takes into account that employees may ignore any goals that are not rewarded. You have to look at that. You don't want to pay, you think I'm paying them a fair wages. This is just a little icing on top of the cake. Okay, individual performance. You have piece rates. You have piece rates. You can self-eliminate. Sometimes you have piece rates. If I'm more for the manufacturing side, but you can also use piece rates if you do some kind of sales. You got differential piece rates. Incentive pay. Once you hit a certain goal or you hit a certain sales quota or a certain dollar amount, then above and beyond. So you remember, even though it's set up for manufacturing differential piece rate, you could modify any of these to fit your organization, to fit your process. Don't look at this, it has to be only for manufacturing, it has to be only for this type of an industry. No, use your creativity. Remember, we talked before, creativity is not artistic. Creativity is thinking out of the box. How could I use the programs I have and still be able to motivate individuals? Okay, standard hour pay. You'll pay worker extra for work done in less time. You'll then a present then set the standard. Employer pays the same rate per piece no matter how much the work produces. Plans are much like piece work plans. Encourage employees to work as fast as they can, but not necessarily to care about quality. Remember, when you have some of these, if I'm not, so what I'm saying with the balanced scorecard in this thing, when I'm looking at, for lack of better, the standard hour pay, if they're finishing the work sooner, I have to have a quality component included. Otherwise, hey, you want this? I just get out so much paper. It's a lot of students. I need 10 pages for a paper or a report. They give me 10 pages. Poor quality, not written well. I met the goal. I have to pay him out because he met the goal. Okay, merit pay. System linking pay increases to a performance scale. Again, if I get performance, if the company meets its goal objectives, my percentage of that goal, the organizational payout that they're going to give to every employee is relevant on how I got rated. So if I'm a B, look at it this way. A lot of some students, your organization pays for your tuition or taking some of my workshops. If you pass my workshop with an A, they'll pay full boat. If you pass my workshop or a college class with a B, you have to do tuition reimbursement. You'll get 80% of. I'll pay 80% of the tuition. If you only get if you pass it with a C, you only get 70%. If you pass it with a D, I give you 60%. After that, I don't give you any percentage because most employees can say, "Look, I get an F. Give me something. I went to the workshop." That's it works against the merit pay. Individual bonuses. Bonuses. Let me move this over a little bit. Performance bonuses are not rolled into the base pay. Employee must re-earn each performance period. So individual bonuses depends on quarters or periods. I met this goal. And what it's trying to do is, instead of here's the ultimate goal, I try to motivate them so they don't all at the end say, I didn't get the goal, then they feel bad. So to get little steps to the goals instead of waiting all at the year end, I pay out little bonuses in the beginning. It's always nice, it's nice to get that Christmas bonus or year-end bonus, but it's also nice to get a bonus like in the summer when I go on vacation, or get a bonus in the fall for whatever reason. So try to think about that. So that's when you look at the individual bonus. Sales commission, incentive paid, calculated as percentage of sales. How much do I sell? Some earn a commission in addition to the base. Try not to just do all commission. When you look at a lot of companies, what the researcher found out, if I'm paying somebody strictly on commission, they become a little bit unethical. They may try to sell a customer more. They don't do any kind of feedback back to the customer. Once I sold it, you got the thing, I'm out of there. So there's no maintaining that customers to come back for more products. I'm only making in the sale. Once you sell, don't come back and say, if the customer keeps on calling back after I already made the sale, got my bonus, I will probably, most individuals say, hey, I need another sale. So they may try to sell them something they don't need. Be careful. A lot of companies will pay a base salary. So as an individual, I know I can, at least for the months that are high or the months that are low, some months I sell more, some months, right around tax time, no one's buying anything else. It's hard to sell anything else, but if I'm on base salary, I know I at least could keep my minimum wage, my bills, my home, my rent, my whatever. I get a steady flow. Everything else is above and beyond, so I can pay for everything else, okay? So you got commission, straight commissions, earn only commission. Some earn no commission at all, but straight salary. Straight salary works out all right. You don't have to pay them a bonus for straight salary, but give them some kind of incentive. Give them some kind of a reward. It may not be a bonus. Maybe I'm the employee or the salesperson of the month, or maybe I received a coffee cup, or maybe I received this black and white, not black and white, no one wants a black and white TV, this iTablet or iPhone as a bonus. Do you know what I mean? So I may not have the money to pay out all, but I could buy an individual item or something. It works out well because a cup, a watch, a nice watch with the company name on it, a nice coffee cup, or something that's got the company name, employed a month or a salesperson a month. Like it or not, it's a trinket, little trinket, maybe cost me $50, but the employees feel so proud because they're like, man, I never had one of those. I had my name out there. That is priceless. That helps on the intrinsic and extrinsic motivations, okay? So we have that. Now, here's the hardest one, groups. Groups, if I look at group, and I'm going to go into that, because most of employees now, most of the way the processes are working, we're working more in cross-functional teams, we're working more in groups. So some of it may be how much did you contribute to the group to meet the ultimate goal. So group incentive measures the effectiveness of the groups, distributes a portion of each employees, and measures improvements in productivity. There's a program that for colleges that we're utilizing, and it's also something that for lack of better words, businesses may consider. It's called CATME, and that is a comprehensive assessment of employee effectiveness, or team members' effectiveness. So I'm looking at team member, how effective is he or she there, and they're rated by their employees. It's a really neat system that's available out there. So check out their organizational site, do some of their things. I'm not trying to sell that group because it's a nonprofit. It's done by college professors. It's a free software out there, but it really is a powerful tool. Okay, frees employees to determine how to improve their own on their own incentive and also the group incentive. So right conditions needed. You have to have management commitment to this, need for a change, strong commitment to continuous improvement. Management has to accept the reward structure. Management encourages employees' input, high levels of cooperation and interaction, employees' employment security, information sharing from back and forth, goal setting, commitment to change improvement, performance standards, calculation that the employees understand, consider fair, goals closely related to objectives, and employees who value working in group. If I'm looking at this, I'm describing not a bureaucratic system, but I'm describing what am I describing? I'm describing a participative type of an organization. Bonuses tend to be for smaller work groups. Reward the members of the group for attaining specific goals. Make sure they're attainable and they understand how to get it and they have the resources. Usually measured in terms of physical output. Objectives. Okay, so we had the bonuses. Teams award are similar to above bonuses. Use a little broader range of performance measures. The team may be doing something that they save cost savings. Came up with an idea to reduce the expenses. Successful completion of a project in a time or meeting deadlines. And remember, when I'm looking at some of this information, I'm not looking at. It always has to be a payout. It could be, you could have some of the team's awards when I'm looking at this meeting deadlines. It could be just an award, here's the incentive. It still could be a non-cash award. Usually, because even the cash award is part of your taxes. When you look at it, it's part of your income. I mean, non-cash award. It could be a dinner for your family because you spent all this time, or a team. Bring the whole team together and say, hey, thanks a lot for meeting the deadlines. And you're still paying for it, but everyone is a group. It also helps bring the group together, the cohesiveness of the group that we achieved as a group. Bring out, and not only for the group, let other groups know if you achieve as a group. Because what's an organization? Bunch of individuals that form a bunch of groups that basically all come back and form what we call the organizational culture. And HR is the one supposed to be, remember, because HR is, for lack of better words, similar to a salesperson, like the butterfly, going from pollinating, going from flower to flower, from bud to bud. So they know the whole process more than one manager or one group. They basically are interacting with everyone, so they kind of will have their input and their whole discipline. And from an HR perspective, the individual or a department is to see what is the new motivator, what is the benchmark, how do my competitors, my good competitors, not the bad competitors, my good competitors, what are they doing to motivate and reward their employees? Okay, in the scanner plans, gain sharing, employees receive a bonus if the ratio of the labor costs to the sales value production is below the set standards. They're very straightforward. Types of organizational pay. You got profit sharing. I mentioned that a little bit about Jewel, for lack of better words. I'm not selling one. There's a lot of organizations that have profit sharing. I know Home Depot has. Some of the other, used to have it or may even still have it. But they have a profit sharing. Profit sharing, you don't share anything unless you have a profit, okay? So, and it's above and beyond. The other one is considered employees. Employees have to understand the plan. So HR's responsibility is that they are basically the individuals who will come to the employees after they understand the plan themselves. They have to know it they know the inner workings because they're involved in the creation of the goal, creation of the plan, and they're the ones that tell the employees, here's how you're being measured, here's how the calculation comes in. Employees like to know, if I meet this, am I on target? And then you have the information system, or you have something out there that tells the employees, here's where we're meeting our goals, we're not meeting our goals. So employees start thinking creatively, and since we have open communication, we're a participative organization, they'll tell the manager, and the manager is not going to steal the credit from the employee. Different issues, we have that down the road, but he's going to take that input and bring it in, and now the whole organization benefits, okay? So employees understand it, managers have to understand it, reward to the department or division's performers, make the awards big enough to matter. Don't say you only got a $10 reward. I worked all year, all these hours, you get $10. It has to be something equity, that the employee, not what management feels, what if the employee feels is a good reward? What will motivate? No different than if you take for marketing something else. What is the amount will make me buy a product I never tried before? It's only $10 off, 10 cents off a product that cost me $50. No, if it's 20%, $20 off, hey, I'll try that product. If I like it, I may come back and buy the product again. Okay, in time, profit sharing payment. The time it should be paid out in a timely manner. Okay, stock options, rights to buy. If I look at the one way employees, companies like to motivate employees is by giving a stock option. Don't give me stock options that a company's ready to go under. It's useless paper. If the company is successful, after so long work, or if you made this, instead of paying you cash, we'll give you stock options. Stock options may have dividends, so it's a gift that's always giving. The stocks grow, and the flip side on the organization is they are part owners now. They feel that they have more into this because they have stocks and shares within the organizations. Okay. There's stock action and then employee stock options. An arrangement organization distributes stocks, shares of stocks to all employees by placing in a trust. Most common for employee stock option, and that could be in a trust, or they could keep it so much until you could take so much out of your pay. There's different variations that you could utilize this for employee stock options. Right now, I'm just going, since I only have a half an hour, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Look at the chapter reading. Look at the material that I provided. It goes a little bit more into detail. Okay, what's a balanced scorecard? When I look at a balanced scorecard, and I hope you can see this, I would keep on moving it. My faces should be right in here. Okay, overview. A combination of performance measurements directed towards long and short-term goals used as a basis for awarding incentives. Okay, so if I look at that, helps employees understand the goals. Remember, a goal doesn't mean anything else if I don't know how to receive the goals. And also, if I know how to achieve the goals, if I don't understand the payouts, it's too complicated. Some companies got a payout that it takes a rocket scientist, for lack of better words, to figure out, or financial accountant to figure out how do I pay. You should have the formula, let them know how it's paid. It should be done automatically, or since technology makes it easy, here's where our goals is. If I, at my pay rate, and if I look at my previous a rating for my job performance, you should be at this time making this amount. It looks, if the company goes at this course of action, by the end of the year, you may get $500. You may get $1,000. You may get $10,000. You may only get $1. And it's the beginning of the year, but there's a potential of $1,000. So you say, oh man, I got a lot of time. I better start straightening up my act. So performance goals, a lot of people, they give them at the beginning and just give them at the end. I need to know what's going on in the middle. If I don't know where I stand, I'm expecting $1,000, but we're losing money. I didn't realize to the end, and I'm putting money away or thinking, hey, this is going to pay for my holidays, my vacation, or whatever, and it's not there. I said, I wish I would have known, and I would have worked harder. I'd also would have influenced peers. Remember, peer pressure. Hey, we can make this goal. Look, it's going to hurt all of us. You're going to have some that don't care, but majority of people, will do it. Not only for the reward, the recognition, but the money's kind of nice at the end. Okay, so we have that. Understand the organization shows employees information about what its goals are, so it helps. Now the balance, we have that. Advantage of the disadvantage of one type of incentive with the advantage of another. The advantage of different incentive plan. You take, like I mentioned before, if I'm just looking at how much work I put out, and do not have an incentive to look at the quality, I'm going to get junk work. I'll get a lot of work out, but all of it will be reject coming back. I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose more than the goals were. So I have to have the goals. What aspect? That's where HR is looking, because they have the understanding with the managers and everyone. If you're not in HR, you're taking this thing just as a manager. Same thing. You still have an input to the organization. When you, as a middle manager or an owner, people don't think your goals are worth anything. What should we do to improve them? Okay? In the four categories, I look at the financial payout, I look at the customers, I look at internal growth, and learning and growing. Okay? So all those are my balance. What do I get out of it? Okay. Processes that make incentives work. Employee participation. Oh my goodness, what is that? And I'll bring some out. If you do not involve the employees in the process, he or she or any employees do not feel that they have any contribution to the overall, they are not going to be very motivated. And if I bring them into the process, saying here are the goals we're looking at, and we're going to give everyone a trip to Disney World, and I'm an individual that does not want to fly anymore. There's a lot of things. A lot of people don't like airplanes, they don't want to go anywhere. So that is no longer a motivation for me. So I may say, that's kind of nice. Could you have the Disney World or a cash payout equivalent to what I would pay for the Disney? And you understand, when you're looking at, if I do the Disney program for everyone, I'm buying tickets or everything else because I'm buying a large amount. I may get an incentive as an organization because people want me to bring my employees there. Once they like it, they may come back, and so I may get a lower price. As long as I say, here's the ticket value because I'm buying in a group, here's what it's worth. As an individual, you may have to pay more than what that I as an organization get. But I give them that option. Or Disney World may not be. Or I may have several different packages. For the family package, for the single package, for the individual who doesn't want any kind of package, just cash. So by that gives me, I'll find this out through employee participation by different members from different functions or different parts of the company inputting what is where. I'm just looking. I didn't say I'm going to give them everything they want. There's no, I'm a manager. They want the sky. It depends on how much I have. What would make sense? I already have an idea of how I want to pay them out. Does this make sense for the employees? And they're involved in that part of the process. With the manager and communication. This is the biggest one. There are all these incentives, and I don't realize that they're out there. So I should be able to communicate and demonstrate to employees that the plan is fair. Requirements of the incentives of the plan is always out there. They can always look up what do I need to do and what do I need to do as an organization, and how do I, or as a team or department, what are our goals to meet the organization's overall goals, likely to influence behavior as desired, important when the pay plan is being changed, and when you need to have employees understand. So always communication. If we're not making it, let them know ahead of time, so it gives them enough change for the organization to change. If the economy went down, we lost our customers, most employees know there's no money, there's nothing else, so at the end we don't have a payout. But you know what, we may have a holiday party. I may give you something. We didn't make the bonuses, but I still price. They worked hard. There was no profit. There's nothing to happen. They didn't make the goal, and it wasn't because they didn't make the goal. Environmental forces outside, the depression, competitors came in, a supplier didn't come in, storms came in, or something happened that the goals weren't achievable. Not because of the individual. I understand. So I'm not paying them out, but give them something for their effort. That's all that counts. It's like a lot of times, and think about this when you're in Little League, even though you didn't win, they still give you a trophy. I didn't say nothing. It's just because you participated, you gave it your best effort. A bigger trophy for those who did, but you want people, they still tried. Remember, they put their heart into it, but something happened outside. It didn't materialize. But reward them, so you don't get to pay. Just that tells me. And that's where HR should say, hey, look, we didn't get the money. We still got a little extra cash here. We didn't use the money here. We're just making even. Even if we don't, even if you're spending money and you don't have anything, try to give them something, a reward, something, give them out for lunch. All those little things that people say, they understand the company did their best. They understand it's out there, Mark. Your employees are very intuitive. Internet opens up. They know what's going out there. And they understand, okay, all companies suffered, but those companies, those managers that at least gave them something, a little reward, say, hey, I appreciate the effort. We didn't make it, but let's try it next time. They know that you really cared, and they know that you realized that it wasn't their fault because they did the best they could. It was the environmental forces. And I'm not looking, as a manager, I'm taking responsibility. I can't help that, but I'm helping them out on that. And that's my 2 cents, remember. And in HR, you are the moral fiber of the organization. You are for lack of better words, you are the guard or the gatekeeper. You're the one that's out there always looking what's going on with companies. How could I help the organization by improving? And what makes the organization? Human capital. Cost me the much? They're the ones that are going to make it. They're the ones who are going to turn the customer on, not a memo or a what do you call it, a plaque or an advertising campaign. It's the customer. face-to-face communication, the customer's the client dealing with, that's going to make it happen. Okay, incentive pay. Okay, now look at this. Incentive pay for executive. That's a sore issue for a lot of individuals. You figure the executives will make up, if I'm looking for lack of better words, the executives make up, they make up maybe 5%. I'm talking to the top management, not the president, the CEO, and so, the four into that top management, maybe 10% of the organization executive. Their pay structures, return on investments, their goals, their payout should be, the gap shouldn't be that large. It should be maybe about 10 times more than what the other individuals, than the workers, the incentives of the workers. It depends on the different levels of management. It could go a little bit higher. Actual payment of a bonus may be delayed to tax advantages. If you're on there, I may not want to come getting a good pay now. I may want my incentive bonus spread out over next year, so it doesn't hit me in my income tax at the year end. And how do a lot of companies do that? So that's my short-term incentive. My long-term is options to and stock purchase plans. Stocks, I may pay on the dividends, but the stocks are something when I cash them in or sell them, so that's a bonus. It doesn't look at my overall pay. It offsets that, so when people are looking at how much I'm getting paid, they forget that I may be only getting paid. Let's say a regular manager may be getting paid $150,000 or $200,000 for a larger corporation. My pay, but then I have maybe $50,000 in stock options. That does not show as part of my my pay when I'm looking at strictly dollars. But that's a nice bonus if I leave the organization or if I retire, or if I get profits, dividends, because I own those stocks. So that's another incentive that keeps on giving and keeps on growing. It's a gift that never stops. Overview: incentive for pay executive lays groundwork for significant ethical issues that we talked about before. Links pay to stock performance. Look, you have some, and there's a big issue. You have like Chase banks or J.P. Morgan investment firms. They basically lost a lot of money. They did pretty poorly. Right after, the government had to bail them out. They had to, even though they paid it all back, and now they're bailing them out. They're just doing all right. Why should I be paying the executive money if the company is not profitable? The company is going under, and they're still getting their bonuses. That is a poor incentive play. Is it good for managers? For me as a top executive, I love that. But look at what message I'm sending to the employees, what message I'm sending to the stockholders, what message I'm sending to everyone else that's looking at this organization. You could screw up, and they're still going to give you a big bonus. Look, if I didn't make my goals as a lower level employee, I don't get anything. But they're getting their goals. That's the ethical issue. That's where it starts rubbing people the wrong way. That's where people say, heck with their goals, keep your money, or they leave your organization the minute there is an opportunity. And I'm not talking about the hourly workers, also your middle managers. They're the ones that will motivate, or they're the ones that come up with the ideas. If they don't feel they're being treated equitably, because, the same game for everyone. If I didn't make my goals, I don't get the incentive. If the organization didn't make the goals, the top executives do not get their incentive. That's Dr. George Mochocki's input on that. And that's something that, from HR should say, hey, this is not fair. It rubs the people wrong. It doesn't make the organization look ethical. It makes my stockholders even go, well, what kind of a company they are? Is there something else? It just said I'm just rewarding the top individuals. And it's the top individuals. They're not the ones who are making it happen. It's all the top individuals give me the tools. The top individuals show me the market. They're the ones that conceptually bring everything together. But it's the 80% or 80 or 60% of the individual actually working the line, the production, talking with the customers, satisfying the customer needs, making this happen, repairing the stuff. Those are the individuals that are basically made. It's why that you are able to succeed. Let's share the wealth fairly, equitably among all levels. They'll take care of any kind of a ethical issue. Be upfront with it. Tell them, here's where we're at. That's why when you're giving profit sharing or if you're giving stock options, this is why the stock options basically make sense for over here when I have my individuals, the gain sharing, bonuses, rewards, and everything else, and different types of performances. In a nutshell, that was a lot. Remember, we pay individuals a fair pay, but we also want individuals to come back to the organization. We want them to be that in their mind they trust the company. There's communication about the process. There's communications how you can make it. You have an input to basically change the goal or improve the goal. You're transparent. Everyone knows what the top executives are going. Everyone knows at the bottom. You have information systems that it's balanced between different departments. I could click on my own technology. I go George Mochocki. I'm just a laborer. At this point, your input, because of your performance, you're here. If everything goes the way it's going, you should see this kind of a payout by the year end, or you were losing money, and maybe some suggestions. What could you do? Talk to your manager. Come up with new ideas. We need to bring this out, and you can bring out those ideas and start changing them around. It rewards us. You have a incentive reward if you come up with new ideas. New ideas doesn't have to be necessarily product related. How do I improve the process? How do I satisfy customers? How do I look at another vendor? How do I do something different? Those are all important. Those are incentives that makes the employee, helps them motivate, but also looks at it as a reward. You did a good job. Thank you for helping me as an organization. Thank you for helping me as a department. Thank you for helping this company succeed. And because of your ideas, your success, your input, your respect, your accountability to doing the job right, we are now successful. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is a series on recognizing employees' contribution. Do not, sometimes even if you don't have any money to pay a bonus, or because of environmental factors or something happens, at least give them some kind of a recognition at the year end. Either some kind of, you don't want to call it a Christmas party, holiday party, call it a safety party. They did something well. They did, they tried. They had no accidents. The quality was good. Our competitors had a lower price, or we didn't have a good marketing campaign, whatever. It didn't make a difference. Reward them anyway. A lot of companies quit all these office parties or anything else. And, employees are going, what a big company. I work for a big company. I don't even get a little frozen turkey for Thanksgiving. I don't get nothing. Happy Thanksgiving. Not even a happy Thanksgiving. Give them a little butterball, or give them a certificate, $20 off, or something to tell them, hey, we care about you as an individual. Spend some time with the family. That's all that recognizing employees' contribution. This one is a structure that is a payout, but in case there is no payout, think of some way else just to tell them thank you for a job well done. And I'll see you in our next series. Thank you very much.